Welcome to Two Doctors Homestead. My name's Daniel. It's a beautiful day out here in Texas, trying to get outside, film more videos outside. This is 30 days of Preparedness 2024. I hope you're enjoying the collaboration. Hope you're watching all the videos. Make sure to thank Big Valley Living, the host of this year's collaboration. 30 days of preparation of Preparedness 2024. That's the hashtag. So there's the sponsor. There's a sponsor of the collaboration, Avid Armor, and there's going to be a giveaway. There'll be a big giveaway at the end of the collaboration. So watch all the channels, right? Make sure you're watching all the videos. Leave comments. That's a requirement for the giveaway. I think somehow they tally up the comments and they use that, calculate the giveaway at the end. Avid Armor's giving something away, something pretty cool. So the finale is Big Valley Living's channel, Monday, September 30th, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. And they have a note, only residents in the United States will be eligible for prizes. But check it out, right? I'm sure they have more information about the giveaway, about the collaboration on Big Valley Living's channel. Great people, great videos. So for this week, this Saturday, we've got 4 Saturday videos as far as the collab, and we're excited to do that. Last week, we looked at intro to prepping and the rule of threes. This week, we're looking at building a survival bucket. Now, I always get excited about survival buckets. I've got my survival bucket here. It's just an Atwood's bucket. I believe this is food grade. It's not important for what I'm doing, but if I do decide to store food in it, it's good to know it's a food grade bucket. I hear these are getting expensive, right? Prices out where I'm at aren't generally as high as a lot of areas, but survival bucket challenge is fun for me because it's trying to fit as much stuff as I can in a bucket. Last time I did a survival bucket video, I had too much stuff, so I had this giant pile and kind of talked about options. This time, pared it down, I got it in the bucket. First thing you may notice on the bucket, this takes up no space and doesn't cost a lot more. It's a toilet seat lid. So once you've got all your survival supplies out of the bucket, hopefully you take everything out first, it doubles as an emergency toilet. So depending on your situation, that could be an important feature, right? And we've actually got some more stuff in here that makes the toilet process a little bit better. We've got some poo bags and gel and whatnot. So survival bucket 5-gallon challenge. Last week we looked at the rule of threes, and some of that's in here, right? I've got my rule of threes covered. I've got some of the C's covered in here. My C's are covered, but there's more stuff. There's more things I would want in a survival situation. We'll talk about some of the different configurations, possible configurations of a survival bucket. So I've seen people say you shouldn't put food and water in there. I put food and water in there. This is a standalone survival bucket, whether you put it in your tornado shelter, whether you put it in your basement, something like that. Standalone survival bucket. But indoor survival bucket could be different than an outdoor survival bucket. If you're going to put the survival bucket in your car, and that's going to be things you would need in case there's an emergency with your car is stuck, might be a different bucket, right? There's a lot of different ways you can do the bucket, and you're restrained by space, right? As I said, it's a bit of a challenge because of the space. It's only what's fitting in the bucket, right? It's not the three bucket challenge. It's not the 3 bucket in the backpack challenge. If you had it in your car and you just keep a case of water in your car, then you're not putting water in the bucket, right? I put a little bit of everything in the bucket. Certainly more stuff, right? When it comes to being prepared, it comes to survival, there's a lot of stuff involved in prepping. Made a lot of videos on that. Prepping is skills and it's stuff, right? And you can learn the skills. We've talked about the skills. We've shown a ton of books on skills, things like bushcraft and whatnot. A lot of skills you can learn, and in many cases, not all cases, the more skills you have, the less stuff you need, right? More or less, depends on the situation. If there's no food to hunt, if there's no animals, hunting isn't going to help you out. You need your food. So we're packing some food in. We're giving ourselves some options here. So I'm going to crack open the bucket. It's not necessarily organized by category, so I'll do the best I can as I start to unload the bucket. I tried to kind of stack it in a way that makes sense, and then I just started jamming a bunch of stuff in here. So we're going to get a mix of what's in the bucket. I'll try to make sense of it. So first thing I mentioned, poo bags. This is 25 poo bags and 25 poo gel. So if you're going to use the bucket as a toilet, you might want to think about it. Once again, limited space on a bucket. This took up a lot of space that you could use for other things. But if you're looking at the bucket in the basement, in the tornado shelter, in the fallout shelter, whatever it is, this might be important, right? This might be one of the top things that you thank yourself, the bags and the gel, in case you're using it as a toilet. So I'll get that out of the way. And then I've got my toilet paper tablet. Certainly you could have a roll of toilet paper, you could have baby wipes, you could have hand sanitizer, you could have all that stuff. These are little tablets that expand out and you can use them as toilet paper. Had to pick something to put in here. This is my hygiene item, which is my poo bags and my porta wipes. So the bucket's a challenge. Bucket's a challenge. So another item you might want right away is, this is a little charger, a little battery bank for the cell phone. So something like that could be good, right? Emergency situation. This says this is 10,000 milliamp hours. It looks like rated capacity 10,000, actual capacity 5,900. At 5 volts, so it's a little phone charger, right? It could charge your phone at least once, maybe a couple times. I've had it for a while. It's been sitting and it's still holding the charge, so this is actually doing a pretty good job holding the charge. But in an emergency situation, right, just getting your cell phone going, that could be your emergency. Battery dies, you can't get on X anymore, can't watch your YouTube videos, there's your emergency. You get the charger out, charge your phone. So important, right? Phone charger important. Maybe you gotta go to the bathroom, charge your phone. Done. Emergency's over. Maybe not. We're gonna keep going here. All right, so a few items I have in here that I didn't have in the rule of threes is lights, right? So not part of the rule of threes, but important. Headlamp. Headlamp is very useful for doing stuff outside. This one's cool because it'll do red light or regular light, light. Disadvantage headlamps I find, especially in outdoor situations, depending on the time of the year, your face becomes a magnet for things like mosquitoes. So not always great in every situation, but they're really useful to have around. Good headlamp for light. Got a nice light. This runs on 18650 batteries, which I like, and we'll talk about that a little bit. And then a pop-up lantern. So if you're in your tornado shelter, you might just want a little pop-up lantern. So light is important. You need light, especially if you're in a hidey hole, if you're in the basement, power's out, something like that. You might definitely need your light. And on the 18650 battery paired with my radio, I could recharge the battery, right? Or you could throw some batteries in here. I've got that cell phone battery, maybe rig a way to charge it, but I'll show you off the emergency radio. So light is important. Next thing I'm going to go to here is communication. This is my emergency weather radio. If there's tornado, if there's a natural disaster, if something happened in the world, emergency radio is good to have. So this runs off the same 18650 battery as the cell phone. It's got the hand crank, so if you're in your shelter and you got a lot of free time, you could hand crank it, charge the battery, move the battery between the flashlight and the radio, and you're good to go. It's got the weather radio and everything else. So communication, know what's going on in the outside world, flashlight, all good items to have in your emergency bucket. Next one would be a different way of communications. This is a GMRS radio. It's a Baofeng, don't even remember the model number here now, UV5G GMRS. So you can get a GMRS license by applying on the website, FCC website. You don't have to take a test. So GMRS is a good bridge between FRS and ham, which are just your basic little walkie-talkies. This also has the weather radio, but might give you a way to communicate if you're in an earthquake, if you're trapped, if you're in a situation where you're trying to reach out to people. This is also good communication to have, and I said it also has that weather radio capability. So you're going to get the weather, you're going to get the radio. We got two, right? As I said, two is one. We talked about that in the rule of threes video. You want to have two of everything. Maybe I've got this radio and it drops, or I break the antenna, or I spill water on it, stops working. I don't have a radio, so we've got two. Right, you always want to have two things that do similar, so they can back each other up. Right, weather radio, two is one. All right, so we've got our communications. I want to talk on medical. I showed this kit. I've got a bunch of kits. Just grab the same kit again, but emergency medicine is important. this may be the only thing you need, right? Once again, we've got a lot of different situations, a lot of possible situations where you'd want your emergency supplies. First aid is something that you should have, you should know how to use. This has got the tourniquet, it's got the scissors, it's got the gauze, all the different things you're going to want. I've done some different videos on different kits. I had a friend who's an Army nurse came out, he helped me do some videos on medical supplies. Not going too deep, but a good kit. You want a good medical kit, keep it in your bucket, keep it in your car, right? You can't have more than one on the emergency medical kits, but these are important to have. So we hit medicine. See what I want to go. A couple other bonus items that I didn't cover in the rule of threes video, which is compass, right? If this is an outdoor kit, if you're just hiding out in your tornado shelter, maybe you don't need the compass. If this is going in your car in case you have an emergency breakdown, you might need a compass. You might need to do some land navigation. So a compass, absolutely important to have, as is a signal mirror. This is a basic signal mirror. Also could be useful if you're lost in the woods, something like that. Signal mirror, it's got instructions on the back how to signal, but it sort of says, you know, if you're trying to be rescued, you can dial it in, you can signal, try to get those helicopters, those planes to find you. So a signal mirror, absolutely useful to have, signal device in that kind of situation. So another item you might be looking at, and I'm sort of out of order, I did just jam stuff in the bucket. Multi-tool. Got to have your multi-tool if you watch alone. Those guys do a lot with a good multi-tool. This one is nice. This is Leatherman. Actually has the screwdriver bits. I've used it a ton. Has all the different tools you would need. You got your pliers, your knives, your saws. It has one knife with a gut hook that I liked that would actually make it easier to help you process animals. It's got the little saw to get your firewood, so great tool to have. Think about a multi-tool, right? Anything on prepping, anything on survival, you know, you want to have multi-purpose items, and this is very much multi-purpose item. Any kind of tools. You could stack a whole tool bucket full of tools and still need more tools, but a multi-tool, not a bad idea to have in a survival situation, emergency situation. Let's see, we'll keep going here. Talked about fire before, got my fire again. Fire starter, matches, lighter, whatever you need, but having fire, the ability to produce fire. Fire is life, fire is warmth. Now if you're down in the basement, maybe not so much. If you're outdoor, something like that. I said the bucket could change depending on your situation, but having the ability to create fire, having at least two options, if not more, to create fire. Two is one, right? Fire is an important part of survival. Now I went with a couple food options in here, and once again I know some people are going to say you're wasting space in the bucket for food, and I talked about that. I put food in here. This is standalone, so I've got two options. We've got our SOS rations, and we've got an MRE. Food is food, right? You know, to an extent. In a survival situation, food is food. I understand we're going to want to eat healthy. We're going to eat fresh. I like the fresh meats and eggs and whatnot and vegetables from my homestead. In a survival situation where it's life or death, food is food, whether it's sauce rations, whether it's an MRE, whether it's a bag of Skittles, right? If you're starving to death, food is food. These are both good options. I've eaten some of the sauce rations. Some aren't too bad. I've got a lot of different brands, a lot of different bars. I don't think I've eaten these ones in particular, but it is food. There's a ton of calories. 9 servings per container, 400 calories per serving. So you're getting a lot of calories. This is a lot less calories, 1,300 calories MRE. It's food, Italian sausage, right? Probably not the worst thing you've eaten, but it's going to be on the list. You won't forget it if you haven't eaten one before. So we got our food in here. Let's just roll next right back into water. Put my little emergency drinking water tablets. You could throw a couple water bottles in there. You could say I'm keeping the bucket in my car and I have a case of water. That's fine, you do you, right? But water is important. You need water to survive. One nice thing on these is they're pretty indestructible. We did a video where we took some Mylar bags, sorry, and made our own. You could do that, right? You just need water, some kind of water storage. You're going to get thirsty out there. You need water to survive. And once again, 2 is 1. In this case, 3 is 1. I've got my life straw and I have my chemical water treatment. I didn't do a container in here. That's a kind of a miss, meaning where am I going to put the water that I'm going to chemically treat? If you don't have a glass or something like that, maybe you got a Stanley cup in your car, you want to think about the container, how you're holding the water. limited space on the bucket, right? But Live Straw, we went Live Straw chemical treatment. 2 options to purify water. Water with us, carried in water, right? So we got our water. The rest I'm hitting on here is back on the shelter side. Mosquito netting, protect you from the Zika, the West Nile, the Triple E, all the other nasty mosquitoes, things that are out there. This alone could be your emergency mosquito emergency. We went with the plastic drop cloth. This is great emergency shelter, especially in your car, maybe broken window. Put it over that. Whatever shelter you're trying to use or make, plastic drop cloth is a good idea. And then we got our emergency poncho again. Once again, hypothermia is the #1 killer. Outdoor enthusiasts, and when you're wet, you get hypothermia a lot faster. So just a $1 poncho could save your life. So we did the drop cloth. This you can improvise. Set broken windows, whatever, something like that. Cover them up. A lot of stuff you can do with the drop cloth, and then just a basic poncho. Doesn't take up a lot of space. And wrapping it back up on shelter, I did the Life Bivvy and the Life Tent. So some overlap equipment-wise with the last video. Some new items here. The idea was pack the bucket with good survival stuff, and I think that's what I did. So I think just looking at it now, talking through it, container would have been good, some way to hold the water, right? Live Straw, you don't necessarily need that. Chemical treatment, you do. You can mix it up, right? We're really talking about survival, about being prepared. One nice thing about the survival bucket, it is contained, it is portable. Give it to the kids when they go off to college. There's a lot of different things you can do with it, different ways you can configure the bucket. So wanted to give you some ideas, doing some edutainment here. So once again, this was 30 days of Preparedness 2024. Thank you, Big Valley Living, for inviting us to the collaboration. We haven't done a collaboration in a long time, so it's kind of fun to jump in on a collab. Make sure you're watching the other videos. A lot of big names, a lot of good channels, a lot of great content in the collaboration. Thanks to Avid Armor, sponsor of the collab. And once again, there's the live giveaway. Go on Big Valley Living. Check out the information on the giveaway. So as always, guys, hope that helps out. Thank you for watching, and we appreciate you.